So I feel like the roster reveal for 2K25 was it was okay. So let's go through some of this, because we are seeing some names that were released by WWE very recently, and they are going to be in the game. For example, AOP, they will make it in. Alundra Blaze, we have seen in Royal Rumble footage, the first round of early access footage, she's in the game. Electro Lopez made it into the game. Bischoff is back in. We've seen Ethan Page in early footage. The Head Shrinkers are in there, so a lot of the Samoan dynasty related to the bloodline, obviously, they are making it into the base game, which is a nice thing to see. I do like that. You are seeing a ton of the DLC from last year making the cut for this year's base game, which is not new. They typically have done this in the past. For example, Pat McAfee is in the game. Hey, guess what? Here's a big positive. Pat McAfee's buddies are not in the game. Goodbye. So things are busy in my house. We don't always have time to cook. We barely have time to look at each other. That's where Factor comes in every single day for us. My wife and I actually do subscribe to Factor, and we get our meals every single month. So this is just a happy accident. Quick, nutritious, good for me, and the main thing is the quickness in there, because we have 2 kids and it's chaos all the time. I love to be able to grab and go, and we're getting all of the protein, nutrients, everything we need. Also, it's just helping us feel better and a little bit healthier too. You can skip the overpriced takeout trap as well. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious. You get chef-crafted restaurant quality meals delivered right to your door. They're ready to heat up in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. So when things get hectic, Factor is flexible. You can change your order up every week with plans from 4 to 18 meals per week, or pause or reschedule your deliveries anytime. We have done this ourselves. We find that sometimes we're like, okay, things are a little bit busy. We need to be able to reschedule things and push it out. We can do that, and then we resume our orders. It's super easy. We've used the Gourmet Plus meals ourselves, and they're really good, healthy options. Factor offers these Gourmet Plus meals as part of your weekly options, which means you can get a little gourmet with your meal plan whenever you're craving something special. On the side, you get premium produce like broccoli and broccolini to perfectly complement your protein. Keep an eye out for the surf and surf, which is the shrimp and the salmon. You can also get the surf and turf, which is the steak and the shrimp meal options that are coming soon. Get 50% off and free shipping on your first Factor box using my link. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code with your phone. Thank you so much to Factor for supporting the channel. Now, back to the video. Well, like Haku is in the game, which is really cool. Kane, for example, is still the normal modern Kane. They didn't have like 1998 Kane, at least here. They're not showing it. Maybe there's an alt attire. Maybe there's another version they'll do, or it'll be a Persona card. But I like stuff like that where I'm like, oh, come on, give us 1998 Kane. Give me fire burns. That's what people want. Shamrock's back into the game. Lash Legend is making the base game, which I think is a very good idea. I figure that they would try to beef up these DLC packs, and we'll talk about DLC packs in a moment. Rick Steiner, Scott Steiner, Sherry Martel, like they are still in the game, and they were part of the DLC packs from last year. I hope that Big Papa Pump gets a Siren entrance. That would be a big win for me. Alpha, Sika, the Wild Samoans, they're in the base game. We saw them for early preview footage, so we know that they were going to be in. But to have them in there, Rosie and Jamal, they're also going to be part of the base game. I like all of that. Clearly, I would suspect those are going to be part of the showcase, and that's why they're in the base game. They'll be unlockables. Now, they did add in some additional names that are going to be on the list, and this seems to be more of like, hey, these superstars, some were just released, but they're in there. We're gonna make mention of them because they're technically part of the roster. So Alexa Bliss is going to be in the game. That's great. I hope that they have enough time between now and the release. It's like a month, but hopefully they can go in and they can give us updated Alexa Bliss from the Royal Rumble and put that attire in. I wouldn't hold out hope. I think that the cutoff is way too close, unless WWE has a big hang up and they want to be able to get that version of Bliss in the game. I would suspect you would get like last year's version, last year's model in there. Hopefully they can try to work that out and get that done. But the other names that are coming in, Baron Corbin will be in the game, Blair Davenport, Cedric Alexander, Dexter Lumis, Giovanni Vinci, Hollywood Hulk Hogan brother, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Isla Dawn, and Indy Hartwell. So a ton of the recently released WWE superstars, they are making it into the base game. Not surprising though, because of when the cutoff dates are for these things. They gotta put them in there for the names. I don't know why Hulk Hogan was on here, but go figure. Surprising one for me, Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Yeah, it's the thing. I like Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Now, we've seen him as like a Persona card in the past and unlockable, and My Rise unlockable, so he's going to actually make it in the base game. What they need to do is give us the proper Triple H 1998 theme. I need to have that. 1999 Triple H. I just don't want old Triple H. I want all the Triple H's. Bray Wyatt is in the game. The Fiend is in the game. So what we've seen last year is transferring over to this year. Other names that they have on the list that are included: Joe Gacy, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, Mighty Molly, Nikki Cross, Rocky Maivia, Sonya Deville, Stardust, The Fiend, and many more variants. Now, variants meaning alt attires, alt models for the existing same characters. Rocky Maivia we knew was going to be included in this year's game, which I think is a good touch. People will be happy that The Fiend is back into the game once again. This is clearly not the full reveal. Like, there's just random names. I'm like, oh, none of these superstars were highlighted. None of these legends were highlighted. When it comes to variants though, alt attires, alt models, I hope they beef that part up considerably for this year's game and not lock everything to personas or the island or anything like that. I think players want to see things like Triple H with all of his different theme songs over the years, different models. We've had Stone Cold Steve Austin, different versions of him. You got the Disturbed theme in there from WrestleMania 17 around there. Keep that in the game, I hope. I saw Mankind was in, but where's Dude Love Cactus Jack? So again, there's a lot of names in there that are missing, that don't totally add up, and we've seen a lot of preview footage too for superstars that we know are going to be in the games. All your current roster talent essentially is going to be in there. DLC is going to be a big question mark, but they also had other reveals for non-playable characters. So you have the non-playable managers. You got Ava, Adam Pearce, Afa, Armando Estrada, Bobby the Brain Heenan, Brother Love, Captain Lou Albano, Kathy Kelly, and Jimmy Hart. They're going to be non-playable managers in the game. I think that's a cool thing. A lot of them are going to be characters from my GM. They continue the non-playable manager list with Mick Foley, Miss Elizabeth, Nick Aldis, Paul Bearer, Paul Ellering, Paul Heyman, Stephanie McMahon, and Theodore Long. A lot of superstars, a lot of managers that we have seen from last year's game carrying over, but with the new My GM additions that are going to be added. Overall, for what this roster reveal was, it's fine. There's a ton from NXT they haven't shown off. They're going to be saving stuff, I'm sure, because they want to be able to kind of pop those roster reveals as the game is coming to a head and coming to release date. I would have liked to see more focus on legends. I think there's still question marks out there, obviously, for certain superstars. Like, hey, I love having my WCW roster in the old days. Where's Goldberg? Goldberg is working with WWE. Is he under a Legends contract or not? Would he make it into the game? It's not the be all end all, I know. You do have new signees like Penta, for example. I suspect Penta, somebody like that, would be saved for DLC. That's the big thing too, is like they might save a ton of these wrestlers, a ton of these legends for the DLC packs coming up, and they haven't been revealed yet. Obviously, they will be revealed very, very close to release date to get those pre-order bonuses, the last ditch effort to say, hey, here's 5 packs that we're going to release. Demolition signed a WWE Legends contract. Maybe they're going to be in as DLC. You never know. If they're going to have variants in there, like we mentioned, Triple H, like I said, Undertaker, hopefully like every version of Undertaker is just under Undertaker, and then we can select or drop down and not have 15 slots of him. All the Rey Mysterios, John Cena's, like anybody who's had alt versions of themselves over the years, I hope that they make it in and they do get those alt attires. It's a lot of fun playing as those. You have The Rock, which I would suspect we're going to get Rock 98, 2000s Rock, more modern day Rock than Final Boss. Rocky Maivia is in. I suspect we're going to see like maybe 4 or 5 versions of Rock make it into this year's game. I do think that there's like so much of the fan base, and obviously NXT is huge. Like we don't have Julia and Stephanie Vaquer. There's a lot of names that are not even mentioned here, and there's a very good chance that they're going to be in DLC, and that's why they're not shown off yet. And I'm going to be getting the Bloodline edition, so I'll get the DLC, and there we go. I just don't want any wacky people that are not wrestling related. The Pat McAfee pack, just don't do that again. I hope that's not a DLC thing again. Like we see something similar, I don't want that. We also saw recently Zelina Vega's entrance here getting shown off. I think they did a great job. Looks updated, looks more modern. Her facial capture looks very good. Looks a little bit more updated, so I like that. When it comes to rosters though, for me personally, I'm an old guy, so I like things like Attitude Era and even wrestlers and legends from the 80s getting into the rock and wrestling area and all of that. Like I like all of that stuff, and having a lot of Attitude Era, that's what I hope for, but we'll wait and see. I hope they don't do things where certain superstars that are current day like really should just be in the base game, that they hold them off for DLC. They did that with like Nia Jax last year. I was like, that shouldn't be the case. I worry that someone like a Goldberg, for example, is going to end up being DLC, and everyone's like, well, he's been in the games for years before, just put him back in. But again, they do stuff like that with like Nia Jax, and then she ends up being a DLC. What do you think of the roster reveal? If you guys want to talk more 2K25, we got this video right here. Have yourself a great day. See ya.